It's Soccer Talk with the Soul. I'm your host, Adam Diehl. Glad you could join us for the first ever edition. And now joining me from the Soul, it's President Ron Patel and then Larry Espinoza, the general manager. Guys, this is a lot of fun, right?
This is exciting. Yeah.
Never thought we'd be here in 3 years. It's pretty cool.
It's happening fast, and things are going fast. We're going to talk about everything. But first, Ron, I'm going to ask you, how did this all become starting this show and getting things going?
Yeah, I mean, the show is really, it's not just about the Soul. We just happen to be the local team that's pushing the show forward. The show is about soccer. We've got so many rabid soccer fans here in Albuquerque and all around New Mexico, and soccer is relevant. There's just not enough coverage of it. So we thought, why not start that show and start pushing soccer out there more and hopefully earn more soccer fans.
Larry, I couldn't agree more, and that's why I was so excited to do this, because soccer, especially here in New Mexico, it's very popular, and soccer has grown throughout the United States. We've seen that, especially with more coverage of Europe leagues and everything, and you can see them here, and everyone has access now to watch these leagues. But it's really growing here, and particularly in New Mexico, isn't it?
Absolutely. There's 4 times the amount of kids playing soccer than there are any other sport, and the closest one is Yaffle football. You get the proponents that say, well, there's no girls playing Yaffle football, so all right, let's make everything equal. And if you were to take a 60-40 split of that 20,000, call it 12,000 versus the 7,000 that are playing Yaffle, that's still a substantial amount of kids playing soccer, if you were to equate it from men to men.
Yeah, over 20,000 kids in New Mexico.
It's ridiculous. And I will even argue, I mean, I think that it's the quality of soccer here, too, has really grown. And New Mexico is a state that can really compete with other states, larger states, in our region. I mean, it shows in regionals, our club soccer teams are doing better and better in regionals. I like our youth. We have a lot of players here locally that have gone pro that we'll talk about throughout the show. But it's fun because I think the quality in New Mexico is really improving because of how it started, how club soccer has really grown here.
And it's a big reason why we started the team. I mean, we talk about a lot about why we do what we do. You know, Larry and I only met each other 3 years ago when we started the team. We didn't know each other, and a lot of people that hang out with us because we, you know, bust each other's chops so much, they think that we've known each other forever. But it's only been 3 years, and I was having a vision of starting a team. He was having a vision of starting a team. We didn't know each other, but as is in New Mexico with the 1 degree of separation, we had a lot of mutual friends, and one of those friends, his name's Greg Webb, connected us at a coffee shop and put us in the same coffee shop at the same time, and we jokingly call it the blind date because he set us up perfectly he knew he wanted to start a team, he knew I wanted to start a team. We have different skill sets, and I think our strengths, you know, match the weaknesses of the other, and that's what's led to, I think, the success of the Soul so far.
Well, that's what I want to get into here in this first segment, guys. I want to talk about the Soul and,
Sure.
and how this became, and so this is year 3 now. Larry, where do you think you guys are at right now?
We're at a very interesting stage. We have done very well at the figuring out. That was the first year. Neither one of us had run a sports team before. So we had to do a lot of figuring out, what do we do, how do we do it. Year 2, systems in place, organization. Year 3, we're starting to look at some rapid growth. And that's the way we're trying to poise ourselves, is get as many people out there saying, not asking the question anymore, who are the Soul? We want everybody saying, oh, the Soul, yeah, when are they playing again? Where do we get tickets? You know, how do we do that? We don't want to be the unknown factor anymore. And so that's why segments like this, shows like this, are so important.
Let's dive into it. I mean, season's right around the corner.
Yep.
First thing I want to we're going to talk about some of the preseason games here in just a second, Ron, but first thing I want to talk about is you've been invited into a very prestigious tournament here in the United States, not locally in the United States. Talk about that. That's coming May 11th.
Yeah, I mean, we were invited because of our finish last year, and the credit goes to the coaching staff led by Coach Matt Gordon. Because we finished at a certain level in the PDL, we're invited to the U.S. Open Cup, which is the largest, oldest tournament in the United States, 3rd oldest in the world. It's a lot of amateur teams like ourselves. We're considered amateur right now. We've also got pro teams from the 3rd division, the 2nd division, and of course MLS in the 1st division. And the farther we advance in this tournament, hopefully with wins, we start playing those pro teams. And who knows, in a month or two, we could be seeing an MLS opponent against
Avid
Albuquerque.
fans know what you're talking about, know what the U.S. Cup is, but what can you compare it to some soccer fans that are new that is maybe like a Europe league that people would
Yeah,
understand?
so like I grew up in England, so the FA Cup was a big deal.
It's a perfect example of
you
what
can have
this
a
is.
pub team that just starts in a pub, which ironically enough, the team we're playing in the Open Cup is a pub team. But you have a pub team that can enter and try to qualify for the FA Cup, and then they start moving up through the rounds and playing the higher levels. Same
So
thing.
you could have a team that's not, I'm not going to say, not recreational, that's the wrong word, a competitive like men's league team that
Yeah.
almost is just really good,
Yeah.
and they could end up playing a professional team. That's even happened where there's been crazy upsets in the FA Cup in Europe where this has happened and moved up. And so it can happen. It's not
Absolutely.
ridiculous that a PDL team could go and beat an MLS team and make their way through this
Yeah, I
tournament.
mean, our rivals, FC Tucson, they actually made it to and got knocked out by the Houston Dynamo just a couple of years ago in the U.S. Open Cup. So teams in our league have done it, and we're striving to do that this year.
Larry, you guys just had a couple of games, preseason games. A couple of them we're going to talk about, but one of them in particular just happened this last weekend. You called it the Snow Bowl. This was in the snow. In Taos, you played on a neutral field almost against Colorado State Pueblo University, a team I actually played in college. Talk about that.
Playing in the snow, it's interesting.
It is, isn't it? Changes the game a little
It
bit.
completely changes the game. The ball becomes weighted. It changes the whole scope of what your tactics are. So
Look at that.
you have to adjust. Yeah, it wasn't. I was shoveling sidelines, so I get it. I mean, it wasn't really cold. It was just wet, and when the snow sticks to the ball, you can't knock a long ball. Well, that keeps you from stretching the field and changes the whole tactics of the game. So you're forced to try to figure different things out, and it made for an interesting game.
Well, I was watching the game without gloves, so it was cold. I will say that.
Well, and give us the result here. It was a draw.
It was a draw, and the interesting part is that our goalkeeper Jimmy Sneebeck came out and he called for the ball, and it was rolling perfectly fine, but then it got caught up in the snow, and so it died. Our defender had pulled off, and so the only thing Jimmy could do is try to kick it away. Well, when he tried to kick it away, the only place it could hit, it hit the offender on the knee. And so it put it up in the air, and it barely crossed the goal line. I mean, if it would have been on the ground,
Yeah, it happens.
probably wouldn't have gone
I know
in.
I know this. It's part of the sport.
It was just one of those things that you're sitting there going, really?
Let's take a look at your full schedule so everyone understands
Sure.
what's coming up here. There's a couple of the scrimmages listed there. The real opener here is actually going to be on May 11th, and that's going to be the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open.
Yeah, we
That's
do.
what
We
talk
do have the
about.
game on the 7th. It's not listed on the graphic on the screen, but it's against the Phoenix Monsoon of the UPSL, a league in California and Arizona, and that'll be the first time to see the first team in action over at St. Pius on Saturday, May the 7th. But yeah, Open Cup is the first real open game. That weekend, we then travel to Las Vegas and play the Mobsters of Las Vegas, a team that entered the PDL the same year we did. And then the first home regular season game will be Friday, May the 20th. At St. Pius against Midland.
Okay, so very important, guys, is we'll talk about your schedule, and we'll obviously have highlights of games as we go through, and this show is off the ground. We're really
Sure.
excited about that. Things are changing with the Soul. It's your third year, and now you've got something really cool. You've got an actual sponsor of your jersey. Talk about that a little bit, Larry.
It's one of those things that when we first started, it was kind of hard to conceive, and something that as a soccer team, it gets cherished. There's not a lot of teams in our league that have a jersey sponsor, so we consider ourselves very fortunate. We have managed to find a great partner, and we think that it lines up perfectly. They are willing to go through the long haul with us, and we're excited about that.
Ron, what do you think? Talk about this jersey sponsor that you guys have been able to pull
It
in.
means the world to us. Obviously, soccer is a business. It's the fun game that we all love to play, and we love to go out and watch. But really, it's the business of soccer that drives the team forward. And in the business is sponsorship. What's interesting about jersey sponsorships is, for years soccer was like the only thing that. The only sport that had sponsorships on the jerseys, and the WNBA came out a few years back and started doing it, and now just the recent news is the NBA is introducing sponsors on the jerseys.
It's unbelievable, right? I don't think anybody would have saw that coming.
No, and it's not going to be like soccer where it's the focal point of the jersey, as you can see on ours in the image there. which is Sun Power by Positive Energy Solar, of course. But it's going to have a portion of the jersey is going to have sponsors on. So you're seeing American sports now follow suit with soccer.
Okay, so with Positive Energy Solar from Sun Power here with us. Community organizer, thank you for joining us, Megan Boddenheimer. Glad you can. You're a soccer player yourself. I was just talking with you, played with UNM.
I did. I played soccer my entire life, and when I got a call from Larry and Ron about the sponsorship, of course I was intrigued just based on my own personal preference with loving the game. And
we played on an ASL team together.
We did. That's originally how we actually met.
How did Ron do?
He was a great goalie.
You heard it here.
Whoa.
I had a ton of fun playing on that team because it was competitive, and that's, I mean, of course, something having played.
Well, let's see
soccer in
this bad
college.
boy. Hold that up.
Yeah.
Look at this.
There it is.
You can see it all.
So you guys were really
It's
excited, obviously, then to team up here with the Soul, and the Soul are making a lot of moves here, and obviously you loving the sport makes it easier. But talk about the partnership a little bit more.
Absolutely. So when they approached us, it just seemed kind of like a natural extension of who we were, besides the fact that the name kind of goes hand in hand, the soul, solar. Our values
It's like it
lined
was
up.
meant to be,
Yeah,
right?
it really was. And our values were in line as far as trying to grow the community, and that's something, I mean, my title is community organizer. So I take care of all the marketing, but really my job is to get our organization involved in Albuquerque and the root organizations that are driving our city forward. And this is exactly that. They're growing our city, and they're going to bring us into a place that the city hasn't seen before, and hopefully that'll eventually be a professional soccer team. But right now it's, you know, a fantastic PDL team. So we're happy to be a part
And
of it.
as Larry alluded to earlier, they're tremendous partners. You know, in sports, I think there's sponsorships and then there's partnerships. And a sponsorship is you buy something and here's what you get. You get a banner and you get this and you get that. This is truly a partnership. We work together to find ways how they can help us grow the Soul, and we work with them on how they can grow their company too.
It's the only way it's going to work.
Yep.
What I think people need to know too is when you watch the Soul, it's not. I don't think it's not just a bunch of guys that think they can play and, oh, I played really good Macamita. These are guys that are going to the next level,
Yep.
or on the cusp of the next level in between the college stage to professional stage. So this is really what it means, PDL, Professional Development League. This is truly quality
Yes,
football.
70% of the guys that are drafted by Major League Soccer played in the PDL.
Yeah.
So they call it the path to pro is kind of the hashtag the PDL uses, and it's truly highest level of soccer you can find around the United States that's not college and not professional soccer.
It's good quality football, isn't it?
Absolutely. I love going out to see the games, and that's something that all of our staff loves to do too. They're always like, hey, when's the next soccer game? When can we go out? We bring our solar trailer and help provide clean power at their games. And
Our concession stands are powered by solar at the games. So.
And so it's easy
Look at
to
that.
convince.
Marketing over here.
Well, it's easy to convince our staff to go to those things because it's enjoyable. And
Yep.
that's, you know,
The partnership
what could you
works
ask for?
So going forward, the New Jersey unveiled. How can people get a hold of these bad boys?
Yeah, so it's obviously an attractive jersey. We've had a lot of people
It is.
pre-order them on the website, of course, abqsolfc.com. That's ABQSOLFC, not SOUL, as we've had a couple people do.
Well, we appreciate it. We talked with Larry. We'll talk with Larry a little bit more. Megan, we appreciate you coming on.
thanks for having me.
Congratulations on the partnership,
Thank you.
guys. Obviously, Ron, I'm going to see you a lot, my friend. And look at these things.
They're
Where
nice.
can somebody get a hold of these things?
They're nice. Same website, abqsolfc.com. And right now, they're only available to season ticket holders. So invest in your season tickets and you get the new scarf.
Cool. Listen, we got Mike Edwards coming on next. We're going to talk a little bit U.S. soccer and the MLS and the direction everything's going in, and then a lot more highlights, including Champions League. It's all right here. It's Soccer Talk with the Soul.